how did you meet your first wife?
Long story short, the next year she gets pregnant. If my dad needed this, I wouldn't do this for him. He's dead to me, blah, blah, blah. Now we come to find out that 3 days after that's when he got diagnosed.
What do you mean by that?
Brian McKnight recently sat down for an interview to discuss all the family drama that has been online. I'm going to leave the link for you to watch this video, but just know he dug, in my personal opinion, he dug himself deeper into a hole than helping us see his side.
You know, how did you meet your first wife?
Our two families are two prominent families in the Black Adventist Church.
Okay.
We both met at the college where I was going to school.
Oh,
she came,
okay.
I was a sophomore, she was a freshman. You know, we kind of started dating, whatever. Long story short, the next year she gets pregnant. And because these two families, this is back when shame was a real thing.
I know, yep, I get it. I already know.
And that whole school year, I'd been in the studio every day. I was this close to a deal. And so my mother's like, listen, if I could stay here with my aunt, if I don't get a record deal by my birthday, which was June, she's back home, she tells me she's pregnant and that she's going to get an abortion. Right? I'm like, yeah, we should probably do that. I mean, you're 18, I'm 20.
Yeah.
Why would we? I'm just about to start this whole thing. You know, maybe this is the route we need to go. And she agrees. And we have this whole thing. She goes by herself, crying thing, whatever. I'm like, oh, dodged a bullet. I'm going out to sign my deal in California because I got it the week before my birthday. My birthday's in June. Got the deal the last weekend in May. I fly out. She picked up some weight. I'm like, we need to go run? We need to do something? She's like, no. When I leave there and get back to Huntsville, that's when she called me and said, actually, I didn't have the abortion.
Did you suspect that she didn't?
No,
you were of the impression that she had went through with it.
Yeah, because when we started dating, she told me about an abortion she had when she was in high school.
Gotcha.
So this is not the first time this happened.
Yeah.
And, you know, I've said all this before, so I'm not.
Yeah, it's not new
information. It's not new. It's not new information. So now I'm like, I got to tell my mom what's going on because now we're past the time for all that. We got to figure out what's going on.
You hadn't signed your deal yet?
I signed my deal.
So you signed your deal?
I signed my deal.
Gotcha.
I'm signed. I'm good to go.
Do you think that played a role? Was that a factor?
We'll talk about that in a second. Okay. I don't think so. I think there's a whole other sinister thing that happened, in my opinion. But my mother, who played the piano and was singing in the choir every week, you know, in the Seventh-day Adventist Church, if your kid has a baby out of wedlock, you no longer can hold any church office. You can't sing up in front. You can't do it. You are held responsible for whatever the kids do. This is what happened when we played sports because you can't play on Friday night. And you know, all the football games and basketball games are on Friday nights.
Yep.
This is I remember vividly. I'm scoring touchdowns, and the pastor calls my mother into the study. It's like, your son is in the paper on the Sabbath scoring touchdowns. Now, if you want to continue to be a member in good and regular standing, that's what you're gonna have to figure this out. So and it happened to all my brothers. I thought that enough time had passed for me that would be the case. This is the same situation. So I honored my mother, and I tried to do the right thing with a woman that I hadn't even known a year yet. We got married in September.
Wow.
Baby in November.
I tell guys all the time that the person that you lay with and or have a child with is a person that you are essentially going to be connected to the rest of your life.
Right.
Virtually. And I tell them that it's probably more important for you to pay attention to who you have a child with, because I see a lot of people, they are concerned about divorce. They're not necessarily concerned about who it is that they have a child with. So you telling this story, but then also at the same time doing the quote unquote right thing, because I was born and raised in a church also. And so it was the same thing as far as the different things, different people that came back and forth. And if you was going to lay with her, you was definitely going to marry her. Right. Now, all the way in 2025.
Here we are. Yeah.
So you signed a deal, but she's still in California.
No, so once I signed the deal, the label that signed me, which was Mercury Wing, was in California.
Okay.
So I moved to California, and she and I and the baby lived with her parents.
So that's how you ended up in California, essentially.
Yeah, I didn't have to go to California, but, you know, I honestly really tried to do the right thing. It didn't work for my dad. It didn't work for me.
What was the relationship like, considering that your life was changing? You were now in the music industry. You know, you were going in a whole nother direction. You had to tour, you had to promote, you had to do all of these different things.
Well, interestingly enough, I was just writing then.
Okay.
So I was flying back and forth to Huntsville And we had sort of an agreement. You know, you handle this part. I'm not changing diapers. I'm 20 years old. This was not what I expected to do.
Mm-hmm.
You made this decision. You're going to handle that, and I'm going to handle this.
Yeah.
But remember, at this point, I'm making like $400 a week writing songs.
Yeah.
But that's not how you want to start your life, married to somebody with a child.
Yeah.
It wasn't, but I wasn't concerned about that. I was getting my dream off the ground.
Do you feel like it hindered you a little bit because you had to be concerned about what was going on at home just as much as you were concerned about what was happening in your career? And I ask this question because, again, I want people to really take something from this, because I think that a lot of times, even today, with all of the learned lessons and all of the conversations that we have, we don't lean on the lessons from people that's already been through it. And a lot of people are just laying up with each other, and they're not really taking into consideration the consequences or how much more difficult it's going to be for them to achieve whatever it is that they believe that their purpose is, you know, once they get with that girl and once their lives are changed forever, because you can't take back what it is that that you're into. Do you think that it was a conflict, you know, at the time, because you're so young and you still got to focus on home, but then at the same time, you're still trying to crank out this career and write these songs and do what you ultimately came to do, which is become Brian McKnight, that we all know and love, right?
I don't think I was concerned at all.
Really?
Anton. I think when you make that bargain, you say, hey, you're going to take care of this. This is your responsibility.
Mm-hmm.
And they say, got it. And you go and you do what you have to do. You're expecting that to be the case. What we don't realize is that people will tell you whatever it is they want to tell you to keep you there or to make it seem like, until that first argument or until, then the real thing starts to come out. But by then, you're looking at your life, you're like, well, and I had this conversation with my mother, like, why did you have me do this? You tried this, it didn't work. Now you got me doing it.
Right.
And it was tough, but I'm already in it. I'm in it. And that's the reason why nobody knows this, because it's not in any of these books that are out there.
Right.
We separated 4 times before we ended up getting divorced ultimately anyway.
Really? How far into the marriage was would you say the first separation?
2 years.
Because you were married for what, 13 years?
Yeah, 13.
And so 2 years in, there was a separation.
Yep.
And then you come back and then
Yep.
it's another separation.
Yep.
Wow. So why not just break off? Why stick it out for 13 years?
For the kids.
Because it almost seemed as
Right.
though the way that we're framing this, it kind of seems like an arranged marriage to an extent because of the kids.
Yeah. Listen, you're torn because I was never in love with their mother. I wasn't. They weren't made from love to begin with.
Mm-hmm.
And I said this before, and people got so mad that this obligation that just because you lay with somebody now, it's sort of an 18-year sentence of some kind or beyond that, because it's forever. And there's resentment there.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, you do have these children and you want to try to do your best to do right by them. And in a couple of those separations, especially with the younger child, he didn't know me. He'd come over, he'd dropped off at my house, and, he'd cry for however long, and he wouldn't want to be there. And it's understandable why he wouldn't. If we were never supposed to be together like this in the first place, but we have these children, it's a 2-parent situation. It's not one.
Yeah.
It's not, we both have to do what's right for them. And you're right. What we should have done was just separated for good then.
Yeah.
And we didn't. And the last separation that we had, and we came back, it was because of that. It was like, now I was 98, so he's 6, and he's still feeling that way, even though he's been living in the house with me, and now he's back gone again. And I was just like, listen, I need some time so I can have a better relationship with him.
Yeah.
And ultimately, once I felt like that was the case, it was time to move on.
Yeah. What about, what was the nail in the coffin? What was because see, you had been through the separations multiple different times, right? But then eventually you guys come to the conclusion, all right, you know what, we just gonna go our separate ways. What's that nail in the coffin that then leads you to say, or leads both of you to come to the conclusion that you guys are no longer good together in any capacity, regardless of whether or not you have kids or not?
I think we always knew we weren't that.
Okay.
I think she may have been lying to herself if she thought otherwise. For me, when I realized I could parent those boys without her, I could be a good parent. I could be there for them, and I could give them what they needed from me without being married to their mother.
Yeah. Do you think that the kids were the thing that kept y'all together as long as you were?
Absolutely.
Wow. Because I see so many guys going through the same thing.
Right.
So you guys wind up separating for good. Does the relationship, and when I say relationship, you know, the dynamic between you two, is it ever good afterwards?
It's not bad. Do you know what I mean? We didn't talk unless it had something to do with the kids, which was great.
Yeah.
You know, so we separated in 2001.
Okay.
We'll get into the finances later. We divorced in 2003.
Okay.
So for those 3 years, they lived in LA and were back and forth between our two houses. When we got divorced and she got her final settlement, she wanted to go move to North Carolina, be closer to her parents, and her money would go longer, obviously.
Did you, and I'm okay if you don't answer this question, do you feel like you got taken to the cleaners financially?
No.
You don't? No. Why you say that?
Because it could have been a lot worse.
How were you able to get through it without it being as bad as it could have been?
Because I'm a really, really, really smart guy.
Yeah, I understand.
And I played the long game.
Okay.
I made sure to make it as attractive to her as I could.
Okay.
Without giving up anything that I didn't assume I was going to have to.
So did you lose any, because a lot of times for us regular people, right? For us regular folks, you know, we have pensions and 401ks and all of these type of things.
Right.
For someone like you that has, you know, you're a writer and publishing and all of these different things, did you have to give up any of that?
Yeah, so that's the only part that stung. I had to give up a percentage of the songs that I wrote during the marriage.
Oh,
yeah.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah. That hurt. That hurt because I wrote those.
Yeah.
I wrote that. But at the same time, she could have taken the house.
Mm-hmm.
She could have taken the other property. So ultimately, I can write more songs.
Right.
But those ones, those big hits, now you say we should have separated earlier. We should have separated in 95 for good.
Yeah.
Because that's that anytime back at one superhero, that isn't a part of the deal. But, you know, what I thought at the time was, and of course, there's a double dip. You're getting spousal and child support and a piece of these. So, you know, the revenue that I would be using to pay those, now you're getting a piece of that too.
So wait a minute. You had to pay spousal support.
Mm-hmm.
You had to pay child support.
Mm-hmm.
And you had to give up a percentage of your songs.
Yeah.
Oh
yeah.
My God. I don't know how you feel like you got ahead then. That's what part I'm trying to figure out. Is it just because she could have took more?
Yep. In California, it starts at 50.
It starts at 50?
At least then it started at 50. And then they start seeing what else they can take. So that wasn't anywhere near 50% of what I was worth.
Yeah.
So I felt like, you know,
those are still your babies though.
They are my babies. They are. But I couldn't, once I write them, they actually belong to the public.
Yeah.
From that perspective, from a sentimental standpoint.
Mm-hmm.
And because there was no emotional currency in those songs, it was really just how I funded my lifestyle necessarily.
Yeah.
And even when I say that, people get mad. You mean to tell me that wasn't written for someone? Like, no.
Mm-hmm.
The whole point of me learning to write songs was if I'm waiting on emotional currency, I'm gonna get writer's block because nobody can live that much. I have 20 albums.
Yeah.
In the relatively short period of time. So I just write. I'm a product of every environment that I'm in. And it wasn't until I met my wife, Leilani, that I actually started, I started actually using emotional currency as the fuel for the songs that I write.
What year did you meet your current wife and how did you guys meet?
So we met in 2012 and my wife was on hiatus
So this was 10 years after.
I left the link to the 2-hour interview in the description below. Brian McKnight has 6 kids that we know of. And during the interview, none of those kids were discussed. He actually has 4 sons and 2 daughters. He only spoke about the 2 kids that he has with his ex-wife and doesn't address the other kids, doesn't even mention them at all, as if they don't exist. They were also conceived, in his words, out of sin. The 4 other kids he had were conceived while Brian was married to his first wife, Julie. This interview doesn't address that at all. Brian McKnight has a beautiful daughter, Brianna McKnight, that he doesn't even acknowledge or talk about. but he's praising his stepdaughter publicly online. I'm gonna play devil's advocate for a minute on behalf of Brian McKnight after watching the interview. I do have a deeper understanding of where he's coming from. I get it. He is in his late 50s now. He doesn't want to cheat anymore. He wants the family. He basically wants to start all over. That happens to a lot of older people. You look back at the mistakes, quote unquote, that you made in your past, and you just want a fresh start. Now, anyone could understand that, but it's the way he goes about it. You know, I understand you love your new wife, you love your stepkids, but just to disown your past family, and he doesn't, in the interview he states he wouldn't even be open to a reconciliation. He probably feels like things have gone too far, but he publicly like pushes things in their face online.
I found this quote in honor of Father's Day. The greatest gift a father can give his children is to love their mother.
Just post your family, post your music, and be happy. You don't have to take digs at your family online. Let's be real. If you are truly happy in your new life with your new wife and your new kids, your new perfect kids, why would you take digs at your ex-wife or your kids, especially your daughter that has nothing to do with anything? It's weird. It's giving you're not really happy. You have something to prove.
He cannot be happy. The reason why I say, in my opinion, that he's not happy is, why do you feel the constant need to make content about your wife? Why do you feel the constant need, or your ex-wife rather, to make content about your children? If you are happy, then just be happy. He's upset because, just like so many other people, they don't understand their audience. He didn't understand his audience. We are his audience. Sir, you have a new family. It's like, what's the problem? You claim you're happy. You got the new baby that you named Brian Jr., Brian McKnight Jr. You out here doing whatever. Oh, I know what the problem is. You didn't know who your base was. This is a great example. You didn't know who supported you. And now when folks are calling up, they're saying, we don't want to hear Brian McKnight's ass. He has a problem with it.
Like I said before, I don't think this interview was a good idea and helped at all to target his audience. It really targeted more of a male audience and Anton's audience. Anton is not a big fan amongst Brian McKnight's fans, so I don't know why he would choose this podcast to go on. Is actually having the opposite effect. It probably would be better if you were quiet and never posted anything, because we really are starting to see your character, and guess what? We don't like you. I think I've talked enough, guys. Please support my channel by subscribing and liking this video, and leave a comment on what you think about this whole situation. Thank you. Bye.